Morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's devotional. We have finally got to the end of the book of 1 Samuel, and we're going to be reading from chapter 31. And on the surface, it doesn't look like the happiest chapter. It's entitled The Death of Saul. Let me just read it to you quick. It says, "Now the Philistines were fighting against Israel, and the men of Israel fled before the Philistines and fell slain on Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines overtook Saul and his sons, and the Philistines struck down Jonathan and Abinadab and Malchishua, the sons of Saul. The battle pressed hard against Saul, and the archers found him, and he was badly wounded by the archers. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, 'Draw your sword and thrust me through with it, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and mistreat me.' But his armor-bearer would not, for he feared greatly. Therefore Saul took his own sword, and he fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell upon his sword. Thus Saul died, and his 3 sons and his armor-bearers, and all his men on the same day together. And when the men of Israel, who were on the other side of the valley, and those beyond the Jordan, saw that the men of Israel had fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned their cities and fled. And the Philistines came and lived in the cities." So the context here, this is after David has been chasing Saul, and Saul's been chasing David. David eventually ends up, we looked I think it was last week, where he goes to the Philistines to go hide amongst the Philistines, and they say to him, "No, we don't want you here," because they're going to go fight against Israel. So David doesn't fight against Israel. Here he goes back to his hometown, and he has to rescue his town from the Amalekites, while the Philistines go up now and fight against Saul. And this is the battle that ensues. And so this is the battle where the Philistines actually end up killing Saul. And if David had been part of that army, he would have been part of the army that had killed Saul, and would have flown in the face of all the other times where he said, "I will not put my hand or raise my hand against the Lord's anointed." And so, again, like we said last week, God has protected Saul from doing the things or protected David from doing the things that he didn't want to do, that God had called him specifically. That was the country he was going to rule. And don't raise your hand against Saul. There were 2 moments we had the opportunity to take Saul out, but he didn't. And while I was reading through this, I thought, it's a little bit it can look like a bit of a bleak picture. Like, what can you pull out of this? But it's funny. We'll see in the weeks to come. It's funny how the Philistines in this moment thought that they'd won. They were like, "We've done it. We've killed the king of Israel, Saul himself." And you see what they cut his head off, and they stuck it on a pole. They hung up his body. It was horrific what they did to the body of Saul. But they thought that they had taken out the Israelites, and this was it. Now they're living in their cities. And the people of Israel are running for their lives. So on the ground, it looks terrifying of what's going on. But actually, what the Philistines don't realize is they're in more trouble, and they're about to see more defeat than they've ever seen in their lives, because now God is going to raise David up to the throne. And just looking at that, I am quite aware, even in this moment, I don't want to harp on about coronavirus or the stuff that we're dealing with, but I'm quite aware for some of us, we're aware of the things that we've lost. Or maybe where it feels like stuff has come in and taken stuff away, and I feel like I have less, and I feel like I'm under pressure, and maybe some of us have lost our jobs, and so it feels like the Philistines are living in our land. We look at others, and it's just, it feels like a really tough space for us. Maybe a little bit like the Israelites, but the most amazing thing is that God was in control. Not God causes these things, but God was still in control, because David was coming. And can I say this? I know for a fact that our next season, whatever that looks like, is coming. That David is coming. That whatever that David season looks like. And God is raising up his church to be able to be a voice and to be able to speak. And there are some of the older things, a little bit like Saul, which are being killed off at the moment. And things perhaps that were precious to some of us. But they have to die off before God can allow the new things to kind of come to the fore. And so in line with that, Charles Cockcroft, one of the guys in the church, recorded a short little video clip of something that he wrote the other day, and I thought it might really bless you. It's kind of in line with this thing of that there are some things that we have to let go, but this new season that God has got for us, the stuff that we can look forward to, is right in front of us. And so I'm going to tag it on at the end of this devotional, and I hope it blesses you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Hey guys, just a little something I wanted to share with you. People need to understand that although their lives are harder now than they were over a month ago, these are not hard times. The world has seen and has created so much worse. Be thankful for what you still have as it was given to you by God. Be thankful for what He takes away as He has caused with it all. He might be making space to add, or He might be giving you an opportunity to learn a valuable lesson that is well worth learning. Remember, God is not concerned about your circumstances. God is concerned about your heart and your character. The world was entering a dangerous state of mind. A selfish, self-serving mindset was spreading all over the world. A mindset only concerned with the love of self and nothing else. In such times, the only thing that forces humanity to see that love and giving are the only ways to live in God's kingdom is hardship and unified suffering. Jesus said, the law hangs on 2 commandments. Love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. The world has forgotten how to do these. Am I saying that God brought this pandemic on us to teach us a lesson? No. No, I can't do that. I can't say that. No man has the wisdom to understand the Almighty's plans. But I do know that Proverbs 3:6 tells us to listen for God's voice in all we do and everywhere we go. I hear God's voice saying many things. Care more for others as you'd want them to care about you. Stop blaming your problems on others and find a solution together. Respect the earth God gave you. Appreciate your close bonds. They really are precious. Spend time with God. You know you can make the time. Care for each other, especially those in need. Don't let anxiety and fear cause you to miss all the opportunities God has given you. Thanks, guys. God bless.